It's Monday, June 27th, 2016. This is Radio Tokyo. I'm Jonathan, and I'm holding an Optimus Prime figure in my hand because it was actually a physical reminder of something that I want to complain about. But first, I want to say hello to our own personal Autobot. Hi, Nick. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. I'm, keeping the peace of the universe. The usual. How are you?
I'm doing okay. But like I said, I've got the little Optimus figure in my hand here, and the reason I have it, there's actually a reason for it. I promise it's not because I just like playing with toys, which is true. I do. It's because I don't know how many of y'all are aware of the new Transformers line that's out, but there are now current type figures for Transformers that we haven't had since Generation 1.
That's pretty cool.
Most of them are like the 86 cartoon movie and the last couple seasons of the G1 cartoon, as well as the Headmasters being made. Like, there is a new Fortress Maximus. It's actually almost the same size as the original. It's maybe an inch shorter than the Metroplex figure that came out a few years ago, but it's a fucking Headmaster. There is a new Wheelie, and he is large enough. He's still a small robot, but one of the figures in this line is called a Titan Master, which is like the little bitty tiny individual robot head that goes on top of the head that goes on top of like Fortress Maximus. It's a Titan Master. They can ride around inside of him. The cassette tapes for Blaster are now available. Like, they're 4-inch high figures. It's pretty awesome. But the reason I have my Optimus Prime figure here is Optimus reviewed one the other day, and and the way I knew he was going to do it, other than seeing it in my feed here on YouTube, is that I follow his Facebook page, and he was doing a live stream of him editing a video. And what it is, it's a Power Master Optimus Prime, and it's ugly and it's stupid, and I haven't even watched Paul's review or anyone else's review because just having seen the still shots of the toy pissed me off. The reason it pissed me off is actually kind of silly, but I want to get this out there so everyone understands this. Usually, Optimus Prime figures are made first, and they follow that up with retooling and repainting that to be Ultra Magnus. This time, they took an Ultra Magnus figure and retooled and repainted it into Optimus, and I just can't look at it and like it. Like, it even has the shoulder missiles from Ultra Magnus, and it just looks stupid. And I'm fine with them making, with Hasbro making a Power Master Prime. I'm cool with that. It's okay, but don't fucking take a completely original Ultra Magnus figure to do. Like, it's like they butchered a beautifully done Ultra Magnus, and everyone I know who has seen this particular version of Magnus or who has bought it has loved it. Like, it's seriously well done. It's the IDW version of Magnus, where Magnus is actually a external armor, like a external sentient armor that is worn by a little bitty tiny robot inside called Minimus Ambus, and it's cool, and I like it. The figure is really good looking. There are even some upgrade kits that are available for it, where it makes it like he has a more show accurate face and everything, and it's badass. And they just did that and made a Power Master Prime out of it. I just no, because after the other Prime figure that was in the line, the Combiner Wars Prime, I'm disappointed in Hasbro. I'm sincerely disappointed, and I think we ought to probably get Brandon on the show, because I'm sure Brandon's aware of this, and Brandon can bitch and moan about this too, because I know Brandon and I have a lot of mutual anger towards Hasbro.
I mean, you pretty much rant about Hasbro every time, so I'm pretty sure you'll be able to rant here.
I mean, like, here.
Because Hasbro has done terrible things. Terrible things.
They do some really decent figures. The one that I'm got right now is the one that I'm using right now is the 2-pack version of Optimus Prime. It was him and a G2 styled Megatron that was a tank. This is probably the most amazing Optimus Prime figure. Like, the transformation is stupidly simple. I mean, like, he just kind of twists around at the waist and his head folds back and his arms go into it. You know, like, it's very, very G1. But it has a lot of articulation to it. I mean, it really only has, you know, like a foot swivel, knee, thigh swivel, hip, and then arm, elbow, hand, and then head. Like, it's very limited articulation, but you can pose this son of a bitch to where it looks like Prime is actually using his gun like a sighted rifle, like he's a sniper. It's cool. I like this figure, and I actually like it more than I did the actual Classics Prime, which is this was the same line, mind you. I liked it more than the Classics Prime, you know, and I've liked it more than almost every Optimus Prime figure since then, including the one of Optimus in Evasion Mode, where he was in the G1 truck form from the movie. I really love that figure, but this is my go-to Optimus Prime, and I don't like what Hasbro has done to him. They made him this big fucking brick, you know, transformer, and then they've made him a rip-off of Ultra Magnus, and it just pisses me the hell off, but I had to go ahead and get that off my chest.
Understandable. It's just recently they just seem to be doing a lot of not great work.
You know who else is doing not great work?
Who's that?
Great Britain. The goddamn Dow has dropped again. This is the second day that the markets have been open worldwide, and they've dropped nearly, like, the Dow has gone down about 1,000 points. And I just dropped Optimus Prime. No! Anyway, the Dow went down like 600 points on Friday, and today it was like 340, I think. It's terrible. And what makes it even worse is the Google searches we talked about last time, you know, like on Friday, about what's being searched for in Great Britain, like how do we leave the EU? That has now switched from how do we leave the EU to what is the EU. That is the number one thing. There is a petition it's an online petition with like 4 million signatures of people wanting the British government to give them a do-over. The majority of people who have voted in favor to leave are now wanting to know. Yeah, they're now wanting to know what the hell was the problem with themselves. Like, there was this one woman was interviewed right after it was announced, and I don't know if you've seen it, but she was asked, you know, well, what do you think about it now? And she's like, well, if I could do it again, I would vote no, because now I'm seeing, you know, the reaction, like, yeah, that's the reaction. Everyone, you know, for some reason, is like, it's fine, it'll calm down, it'll be okay. No, we're gonna have to deal with this bullshit for 2 years. For 2 fucking years! 2 years! And it doesn't help that Donald Trump is a dumbass about it, that, I don't remember how it was phrased, something like, tiny-fisted, Cheeto-faced, no, I'm sorry, tiny-fisted, Cheeto-faced, shit goblin, I think, is what the reaction was to his tweet about having landed in Scotland. But no, like, it's terrible. It's really bad, and it's bothering me, and it almost bothers me as much as seeing this picture of Hillary Clinton in my news feed about her kissing Senator Robert Byrd, who, for those of you who don't know, was senator from West Virginia, and he was, for about a year, a member of the Ku Klux Klan. He founded a camp or group for it in a town in West Virginia, and then decided he didn't like doing it anymore, and he dropped out. So people are apparently bitching about her having kissed him. Like, look, she's hanging out with her racist. You said about Donald Trump. There she is, kissing it. The difference is that for 57 years after he dropped out, Byrd was a senator, and in that entire time, he completely supported every civil rights issue that came up, and he apologized all the time for it, to the point that the NAACP actually issued a very moving statement on his death. So please, people, just please quit showing the picture. I mean, it's a fucking decade-old picture at this point in time. It has no impact on the race. Robert Byrd changed himself. You too can change yourself. Not everyone is a racist asshole like you seem to want them to be. I mean, sure, you back Donald Trump because you think he says what he's going to say, but, even Trump's changing his position and pissing more people. Like, there are now people who supported him who are actually interested in supporting Hillary, myself included, even though I'm a Bernie supporter, and if Bernie's on the ticket, I will vote for Bernie. I will vote for Bernie, because he's the only option to me. But if he's not, I'm sincerely leaning towards Hillary, because I don't want him in office, and I don't want her, but I think that the impending doom to the country will be held off a little bit with her, because secretly she's a little more bloodthirsty than he is. Like he has his moments where he's kind of violent sounding, but I think she'll just be like, hey, you cut your shit out, or we will come get you. And the crazy people in the green parts of not America will be like, yes, ma'am. I see it happening right now. I just see it happening for some reason. I don't know what's going on. It's like we've lived in the Twilight Zone for about the past year and a half now, and it's confusing. But anyway, point being, Trump is an actual racist, and Robert Byrd stopped being one, so you can stop too.
It's such a weird weekend, and I mean, I'm not even surprised or shocked at what's happening. I mean, like I said, I studied finance. I studied economics. I have a degree in accounting and a minor in finance, and I know people want to not listen to experts apparently because we're book smart and not street smart. We don't understand things apparently, but look at what's happening, people. Just look at it. Look at it. You see that line going down and down and down? That's bad. That's bad. And people try to defend it and say, well, the price of freedom is worth the loss of money, and the only thing I can think of is what freedom? What freedom does the UK have? I really want to understand what freedom they have, because I don't think you understand what just happened at all. I really don't think you understand what's happening.
Actually, it's more like, what freedom didn't the United Kingdom have? Think about that for a moment, folks. The United Kingdom is our special good friend. Like, we're talking Forrest Gump and Bubba level of friendship here. They're, like, if we were going to ever get married as a country, it would be to England. Okay, like, we're that close. We
Probably.
There's definitely
our main suitors would be Japan, Canada, and England. Those would be the countries we would marry.
And we have more in common with England than I think most people are thinking about. Apple pie being number one. But yeah, it's weird and it's fucked up, the reaction to this. And see, I get the whole, but democracy, that's fine. I get that, and we're a country that was founded on rebelling against, governments and founding our own. So I understand, this, we're just going to secede and break away from shit nonsense you've got going on. But the reality is, this has fucked up the world market. Okay, like, even if nothing else happens, the world market took a goddamn nosedive, not off the deep end, into the shallow end. And it's just sitting there just bleeding out from the head. Like the world market's head is busted open and blood is in the water, and the sharks are going to come at some point in time, and the sharks are going to have laser teeth. You know, not like lasers for eyes. They're going to have laser teeth, and sharks have got like 400 teeth. So you can see how this, you can see where this is going, okay? This is bad. It's really bad. And I'm sure at some point in time everything will settle down. It'll seem okay. But what that is, that's called getting into a rut. That's called getting into a momentary stability. I don't have a degree in finance, but even I understand that the economy can plateau for a little while. That's what's going to happen. But the reality is, this has fucked everything up, and we have 2 years yet to go. 2 years. Sure, everything will be kind of okay. Once people figure out what's going on. But just like John Oliver said last night on Last Week Tonight, there's no fucking do-over here. There's no do-over. This was decided. You voted out. You're out. Everything's taken care of. You're done. You're done. You're on your own. And everyone else has to suffer for this shit.
Well, not only that, but the UK is worse off in every single way possible. Because, okay, here, I want to try to put this into context for people to understand.
But wait,
the US, as great as we are, do you know how long it took us to become an actual powerful nation?
Till after World War II.
I want people to put that into perspective. How many years was that? Almost 200?
Let's see. That was 80 years after the Civil War, which was 87 years after the country was founded. So you're looking at about 167 years.
Okay. So let's just use America as an example. Although, let's say Britain can recover faster because they didn't fight a war or anything here, right?
Well, about that, they kind of have soldiers stationed everywhere like we do, and they did bear some of the brunt against the fighting of ISIS. Not, like top 10, but they're pretty close to being up there.
But still, it's not like a major war on their homeland. But so let's say it'll take them a quarter of the amount of time to recover and make Britain great again, right?
Yeah.
That's going to take them 40 years. That's 2 generations of people before Britain can become quote-unquote great again.
Literally, the only thing I think that Britain has floating for it, going for it right now, is like the reason I said floating is because I was going to say capable of floating their economy is because tourism and Doctor Who. That's about it. That's about all that they have. Tourism and Doctor Who.
I want people to understand. Britain is not an empire anymore. It is not close to an empire anymore. It does not have the military backing to be an empire. It does not have the industry to be an empire. The only thing that Britain has is their banks. Their banks are pretty awesome. And Doctor Who. And maybe Sherlock or something. I don't know. That's literally all Britain has.
Well, actually, Britain's got one more tiny thing.
Which is?
The 7 Kingdoms of Westeros?
No. I denied them that.
Except that that's mostly filmed in actual Ireland, not Northern Ireland.
And Ireland's going to be breaking away from them anyways, probably, and so is Scotland. So, yeah.
But still,
just
Westeros,
like the North wants to break away from the Seven Kingdoms.
But still, Westeros is very, very important here.
I suppose.
You know what? You know what, Nick?
No, wait. You know what? I have a perfect example of what Brexit is actually like. I have the perfect example. And it involves spoilers. Are we gonna do the spoiler thing?
Yeah, actually, I was gonna say, fuck it, we'll do it live. We're just gonna talk about Game of Thrones at this point in time, because I mean, holy shit!
No.
By the way, okay, hang on.
Hold
Let
on,
me say this. Let me say this.
You know
Let
what
me say
Brexit
this.
is like?
Those of
You know what
no,
Brexit is like?
hang on.
It's like Cersei fucking blowing up the set.
Hey,
That's what
no,
it's like.
no. I haven't even given the spoiler warning yet. Back it up there, Sparky. Back it up there. Okay.
No, I did it. We have spoilers. We're going spoilers. We're doing Game of Thrones.
And those of you who are watching at home, you get to see our brand new spoiler warning graphic. Isn't it pretty? Like, even though you can barely see Diana on there. But yeah, anyway, spoiler warning. Spoiler warning. As long as this is on the screen, you have time to stop listening, even though Nick just fucked it all up. But it's fine. It's fine. Spoiler warning. Okay? Spoiler warning. Just keep that in mind. You're seeing it right now. We're giving you, what, like a minute at this point of spoiler warning. Be prepared. Shit's about to be ruined for Game of Thrones. You know, so if you didn't watch it at all and you're waiting, you know, you don't want to know, maybe you shouldn't watch it or listen to the show anymore. You just turn it off. You just mute the show. I don't know, the next, what do you think, 40 minutes or so, Nick? 20 minutes, maybe, whatever?
Sure, why not?
I mean, like, just mute the show and don't even bother looking at what's on the screen. In fact, you know what you need to do for, say, the next 20 minutes? Just go make a sandwich or, I don't know, play some Hearthstone or masturbate or whatever it is that you do in your spare time. Just save yourself the trouble.
Send the sandwich to us. Send the sandwich to us.
Yes. Make 2 sandwiches and send them to us, and then you go do other things until you see the spoiler warning come back. And no, better yet, until you see our normal background graphic come back up. But by the way, spoiler warning over with. Okay, we're gonna start off with the trial. There was a new piece of music that was written specifically for this episode. It's called The Wisdom of the Seven. It's beautiful. It sounds like a funeral dirge, and there's a reason. There's a reason it sounds like a funeral dirge. But it starts off, of course, Cersei and Lancel. No, whatever his name is. Whatever his name is. I can't remember his name. Anyway, not Lancel. What's his name, damn it?
I can't remember either.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Whatever his name is. Anyway, they're going to have the trial for them, and it's going to be held, of course, in the Septa, and as it's the Septa of Baelor, and last week, King Tommen, also known as the last of his name, decided to listen to what the faith had to say. And so he did away with trial by combat. So Cersei's fucked. Cersei's fucked. She has no option. Now, what happened during the trial? This is very, very important here. This is so incredibly important to know what happened during the trial. And by the way, we're not going to talk about Jon Snow. It's important to what happened with Jon Snow, but it's not as important as everyone else. Like, everyone else's story is mucho important at this point in time. Like, even Arya, we'll give her a mention, even though she's only in there for 5 minutes. Anyway, point being, during the trial, the one thing that Cersei has up her sleeve, up her very well-tailored sleeves, hidden between the expensive fabric and her beautifully dainty arm, is the fact that the wildfire of Rhaegar fucking Targaryen is just running through the veins of King's Landing. Like, it's buried under the city. Now, this has been like the 3rd episode in a row where we hear about the wildfire, okay? And we finally understand the last thing, according to Jaime Lannister, when he's talking about stabbing Rhaegar in the back, he's going, "Burn them all! Burn them all!" That's what he's talking about, is the wildfire. Literally, there are casks full of wildfire stuffed in underground corridors up underneath the Sept of Baelor, the Red Keep, everywhere. They're all over King's Landing. It was enough that if Rhaegar knew he was being attacked and knew King's Landing would fall, he would just kill everyone in the goddamn city. Okay? So during the trial, Marjorie's brother is given the option of asking for mercy, which he does, and they carve the little thing in his head, so that's how they get the little totally not pentagram in their head. So that's how that gets there, okay? And of course, we see Cersei getting dressed and Tommen getting dressed and everything, Well, it's time for the trial to start, and Tommen's going to leave, and lo and behold, who's stopping him but the Mountain?
And it was, I really love how they did it. I love the slow pace that they took. I love them showing them getting dressed up, and it just accompanied the music so beautifully. And something's going on. You know something's happening as soon as you see the Mountain there, and you're like, oh god, what's going to happen?
And see, I realized this last night. Every time we have seen the Mountain this season, every time we have seen him, he has put his hand on someone's shoulder and they've died. Almost always a head injury, but every time he's touched someone, they have died. And he touches Tommen on the shoulder. Whoops!
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, think about it.
But it was kind of funny when I was watching it, because when I saw the little sparrow chasing the kid through the tunnels, I was like, what's going on here? And then I saw him fall down, and then in the background I saw barrels, and I immediately knew what was happening. I was like, oh, that's what's going to happen. And it was funny because my mom was asking me, what do you mean? What's going to happen? And I just kind of stayed silent because I didn't want to ruin the surprise.
I was sitting here fucking cheering. I mean, like I said, this is the most telegraphed terrorist attack since Benghazi, okay? There is no way anyone watching the show, if they're paying attention, there's no way you could not have known what was going on, because it's literally the only option Cersei had left, because she was basically facing execution. And we all know Cersei will not quit. She literally has nothing to lose. Now, I had a discussion with my mother after this, because my mom and I talk about Game of Thrones, after we watch it, okay? And we talked about it, and my mom posed the question to me. She wanted to know if I thought that Cersei knew what was going to happen to Tommen. Yes. Yes, she did. There's a reason that Cersei's outfit is not red. Every time you have seen her, she is traditionally in some form of red. Last night rather, all black. All black. Black and silver. Beautiful outfit. Absolutely stunning looking dress, to be honest. All black. Now, black is the color of mourning, because later on you see everyone else, that's connected to royalty wearing black. Like even the Red Keep in the throne room has been changed to black. The braziers are lit and everything, But it's black, it's somber. That's your hint right there. She's already mourning the death of her child and everyone who was in the Sept of Baelor, because she blew the motherfuckers up. Okay? Now, whether she expected the Mountain to kill Tommen, I don't know. But I do believe that she went into this thinking that there was no way Tommen would get out. And the part that actually that really got to me, the part that I didn't even consider having been happening, is Tommen standing in front of the window and looking out at at the septum of Baelor as it's burning, all the smoke rising, and he just takes his crown off, walks off camera, and there's just this open shot of, window there and everything. He comes back, climbs in the window, and jumps out and dies. Because, like I said, the mountain touched him. Cersei was already mourning him. It was going to happen. And then we get the real quick clip, of her torturing the Septa who tortured her for so long. It's beautiful. Revenge is amazing. It's amazing. Revenge feels good. I confess. Revenge feels good.
I was really, really sad to see Tommen go like that, though. I mean, he seemed like he was trying to be a decent, good king. Like, it just sucked to see one of the Lannister kids finally doing good or trying to do good, and of course they die.
Really, Tommen was the only other honorable character, like, intrinsically, to his core, honorable, do the right thing, not just for yourself, but try to do the right thing for everybody else. He's the only other character other than Eddard Stark that was like that,
and even Tyrion has his selfish moments. Tyrion plays the game. I mean, he's a really awesome character and a generally very good morally character, but I still wouldn't necessarily like. Tommen was just something. There was something you just had to like about him.
It's like I said, he was the most intrinsically honorable character other than Eddard Stark. Now, of course, we found out something about Lord Eddard that we'll get to in a minute. But Cersei blowing up the Septa Baylor was not the only moment of her revenge. Of course, she's got the mountain torturing the Septa who abused her. But Grand Maester Pycelle has met his end finally. That old, hateful, crooked bastard was stabbed to death by the birds, little birds, and it was what it's great. It's great to see them now. The only problem that I have is, one of the little birds had to die in leading the sparrow down there, but it was a sacrifice for the greater good. So let's just let's just all pause collectively and have like 5 seconds of silence for the bird. Okay, the rest of them stabbed Pycelle to death like it was, one of those Julius Caesar moments. They walk up and they're like, shink! And he's looking at them, and he just goes, yeah! And swings at them, and they pounce on him and head him on the ground. And I kind of felt bad, but at the same time, this has been 6 seasons of hating this man, 6 seasons of wanting him dead. And I'm
the only
for
thing I can think of that would make me happier is to see Cersei die. And it's literally the only thing that would make me happier.
No, see, I love Cersei. I have loved Cersei from the beginning.
I hate Cersei.
Well, of course you hate her. She's a bad person.
Well, yeah, I mean, she's a great character. But I want to see her die. It's time for her to die.
It's kind of like Daenerys. I mean, everyone loves Dany. Everyone loves her. But the reality is that Daenerys Targaryen is a bad person. She's a very bad person. She is the villain. She is more of a villain than Cersei is. Now, why are you asking this? She's done good things. She freed the slaves. That's awesome. She's united people and made allies, people who were never allies before. But she has dragons. She's going to invade Westeros. She's going to kill a lot of people for a birthright that in the beginning of the fucking series, she didn't even care about. She didn't even care that she was a Targaryen. But now, through the whole, 6 seasons now, she's realized, oh, hey, I have a birthright to this. I'm the one in charge. I am the queen, bitch, and you're going to do what I say. And it's wonderful and amazing that she does that. It's cool. But the reality is, she's the villain. The villain and the 2 villains in the show left, the 2 main ones, are the ones everyone likes the most. Now, of course, everyone likes Jon Snow. That's fine. And everyone likes Tyrion. But ultimately, Tyrion has consistently sided with the bad guys in this. Consistently. So Tyrion, as well, is a bad guy. And it's terrifying. It's like we're getting our moral absolutes in the show from a 3.5 foot tall person who's an alcoholic who spits off this rhetoric that no one can ever comprehend, has murdered his own father, murdered his wife, and is now helping the quote unquote only child of a murderous rapist asshole who tried to execute everyone around him by helping get her 3 dragons so she can burn everything to the ground. He's a bad guy. He's a bad guy. And I feel like it makes me happy that I like him, and it makes me happy I like Daenerys and Cersei and everything, but they're bad guys. You know, they're bad guys. And like oddly enough, I've come to like them more. Like, I'm so excited to see Daenerys and her armada reach Westeros and start fucking shit up. But at the same time, I've come to hate Jon Snow.
What? Why?
Well, think about it. Last week, we saw his damn near failure as a military commander. Like, the one time it actually mattered that he did things right, and he nearly got everyone in his army killed. Almost everybody killed. But, you know, because he had his moment last week, I don't want to remain on him for too long. Actually, you know what? First, before we start talking about Jon, I want to talk about the most amazing character on Game of Thrones ever, okay? Lyanna Mormont is a living goddess. I love the little girl who portrays the character. I love the character as a whole, you know, and like if you're actually watching it on screen, you're seeing a meme I found on Twitter last night. She basically calls out all these people who are 4 and 5 times her age, people who are more immensely wealthier than she ever thought about being, and have far larger armies than she ever did.
Basically, if I had a sword and army to pledge to someone, I would pledge it to her. I don't care if she's a little girl. I am pledging it to her.
I know, like, it's incredible. You know, like, she's like 11 years old, and she just calls out all these adults, and it's like, holy shit, she's right.
I want her to lead me into battle, or anywhere.
I do. But, you know, for those of you who are just listening to this, the little meme is cute. It's her looking at one of the lords to her right, and she's saying, "You're a pussy, and you're a pussy, and you're a pussy too. Now stop being a bunch of fucking pussies." It's like that. That's literally what. And that's not word for word literal, you know. But that was the intention of what she had to say, and it's amazing. I love this child. I love her. She's the greatest character ever on the show, and I want to see more of her.
I really do. I mean, she's just so cool. I need her in every episode now. I need her on the War Council of Jon Snow, or doing things. I don't know. Just find ways to put her in the damn show.
She needs a spinoff, okay? But anyway, the reason we're talking about Lyanna Mormont here, if you know anything about Game of Thrones, you know that where she got her name, Lyanna Stark, okay? Lyanna Stark became the somewhat wife of Rhaegar Targaryen, who raped her, and then she had a child. Hint, hint, she had a child. Do you see where we're going with this? Last night, we had full confirmation of who her child is. Her child grew up to be Jon Snow. There you go. It's confirmed. It's confirmed. Lyanna and Rhaegar had a child, and it is 110% Jon. That means Jon Snow is not a bastard. He is not a bastard. And he is the full-born child of royalty, royalty on both sides. So he is the half-brother of Daenerys. Okay? And the other option here,
I read somewhere that he's the nephew of Daenerys.
Well, yeah, kind of the same thing. Well, whatever. The Targaryens all fucked one another, so it doesn't matter, really. Like, they're way more incestuous than Lannisters. But anyway, point being that other people have put Jon and Dany together as being a future couple, and realistically, when you think about it, who is Daenerys going to marry to cement her control over Westeros?
It would make sense for Jon.
Yes, it certainly would, because he's steadily collecting more and more lords to, more and more lords to his service. So it's possible that Dany and Jon will get married, and that would be kind of cool, I guess, because the whole story is fire and ice here. But yeah, Jon's a Targaryen. Who would have thunk it?
I mean, I think a lot of people saw it coming, especially since the episode with Bran seeing the vision of his father fighting to get to up the tower. It was at least something that I saw coming.
I think a lot of people did, but what I don't think most people saw coming is, and this is switching back to the other Targaryen in the show right now. Dany had a hand emblem made specifically for Tyrion. That is my number one favorite moment of the show last night, other than Lyanna. Okay, because I think everyone agrees that was the most badass thing ever. But she gave Tyrion the hand symbol, and she's like, "I'm not even sure if it's right," and he just looks at it like, with this, it was the most profound sadness I have ever seen on Peter Dinklage's face in any role. Like, he looked at it and he's like, "Oh shit," like just the realization of what she was offering him. It's like, you're my number one now. I'm Picard, you're my Riker. I need you. And this was, of course, after she told Dario Naharis that he could not come with her. And of course, Dario loves her. But yeah, Dario can't go to Westeros with her. He has to stay behind. And she's like, "I just told a man who loves me and who I've loved and blah, 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 that he has to stay here, and I felt nothing." And then she's like, "Oh, I had this for you." And she gives him the pen. He's like, "Wait a fucking minute. I'm the hand of the queen now. Cool." And I feel really good for him. But that also winds up leading to, I guess, kind of a full circle moment here, because Varys left. Like, I don't think it was last week. Maybe a week before us. Anyway, he went on this little journey to go find help and to go find allies for Daenerys. And turns out he goes and gets House Martell on their side. So they have many, many more ships they can use for Dany's army. Many, many more soldiers. And that's how the show ends, is Dany's fleet crossing the poison water. I forget whatever the name of it is in the show offhand. But it was a beautiful shot. It really was, but they had mentioned seeing the sails being painted, and of course, the whole fleet, like, their sails are now black. There are ships that Dany had built for her that now have these dragons on the front of them. It's amazing. It was a really good moment, because not just because it was beautifully constructed. It's just the fact that this is 6 seasons. Like, every plot thread in the show was just yanked last night, and it's starting to be wound up into a string. Like, all the threads are winding together to one final thing, and it's really awesome that they're finally doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like what's going to happen, at least to me, is Dany's going to take King's Landing, and then she's going to march north, or she's going to try to recruit Jon to help her take King's Landing, either one. At least to me, I think they're going to hook up, and then they're going to have, of course, the final great war against the Night King.
Well, see, that leaves, like you just said, that leaves basically one other person whose story, wasn't really around. Now, of course, I mentioned Arya, uh, but Arya shows up uh, only to kill. Oh, I forgot his name. I am so bad at this. What's his name, Nick?
Lord Frey?
Yeah, Walder Frey. She kills Walder Frey uh, pretending the many-faced god is still on her side, and she does the pretend face thing, and then she slits his throat after feeding him his 2 kids. So, I guess that's a appropriate ending for Walder Frey. I mean, it was honestly, I would have preferred to see Jaime kill him because they had the exchange earlier, and it was kind of like Jaime realizing I even have something minimal in common with this hateful bastard. Why am I here? And he gets up and walks out, and then they just bring Arya back in because travel does not matter in Game of Thrones. You can be anywhere you want to, within the same episode. So she comes up behind him and slits his throat, and it was kind of a letdown. Not just because it was.
I'm actually okay with that. For me, I really liked Arya showing up because I've been wondering where she's been for a while now, and now we find her, and it's like, oh,
well,
she's
okay.
killing people. Okay, I like that.
The reason it bothers me is not just because it was kind of a forced ending, to the phrase and everything. It's more, and I know that he was on her list. Like a girl has a list. I get that. But it was kind of a letdown to me because she's basically become this little cold-hearted murderer, and I see her at this point in time so far removed from what the Stark family is about. Like she's gone off in this stupid path. I'm honestly,
I hardly
I'm
call it
just tired of her
stupid.
story.
I don't really think it's stupid. I mean, she's just had a really tough road to travel, and she's had to survive. I mean,
She has, and I
I mean,
respect that, but
I'm much more mad at characters like Sansa or Dany at some points, or even Jon sometimes, than Arya. Arya's just been trying to survive. She's just been
well,
trying to
see,
get back. I can't
she's
be
kind
mad
of
at
okay.
her.
I'll put it like this: her and Bran are kind of just filler at this point in time. Like, they're the only characters that are nowhere near their final resolution. So we're having to kind of have a very, very forced storyline for them. And sure, it's awesome. They're doing whatever, like Bran's threat evidence, whatever. Anyway, it's forced. Like everyone else is getting so much background, and there's so many reasons for Cersei to have just killed every fucking person in the Sept of Baelor last night. There was so many reasons. Okay, like I said, her wearing all black. That confirms she's already mourning her child. Tommen's long since lost to her. She's literally lost everything she's ever cared about except for Jaime. Everything has been taken away from her. Everything. I get that. Like, she's genuinely a tragic character. At this point in time, she's mostly doing it so that she can have a sense of self-worth. Like that's basically all she has left is herself and Jaime. Okay, so Arya, goes off on her little storyline, and it's honestly it's boring.
I disagree. I disagree because I think that her and Bran's storyline is part of the bigger overall story. Because all the little games that the Lannisters and the Starks play, you're always supposed to remember that these are literally just games. These are literally games that they're playing. Because the real threat, the real problem, is always going to be the Night King. And if you put it into that context, their storylines are actually much, much more interesting than any of the other characters, at least in my opinion.
It is. I mean, like but still, story wise, there's characters that we know are okay. Look, I'm gonna go ahead and say this because I feel like I'm a terrible person if I don't say this. I'm tired of Brandon Stark. Okay, I realize. Oh, he's the three-eyed raven. He's so important. Ha 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 ha. No. Think back a few episodes when Hodor was killed off. Okay, Hodor is everyone's favorite character, and thankfully they put Lyanna Stark to fill the Hodor-sized heart, a hole in everyone's heart. That's fine. That's cool. Whatever. Hodor had his entire life fucked up. His entire life. He was maybe 12, 13 years old, 14 at the most. Probably no older than 15. Okay? And Bran, not anyone else, Bran made him go into a comatose state and foam at the mouth until he could only say Hodor, the contracted form of hold the door. He fucked up Hodor's entire life. Now, think about this. Hodor could have been anything. Hodor could have been a baker. He could have been maybe a knight, maybe. He could have been anything. Like, he had a whole life ahead of him. He could have fallen in love, had kids, whatever. And Bran's like, nope. I'm going to need someone to hold the door for me. You're a big, seemingly dumb person. Snap. There you go. Have a coma. Hodor. He fucked up someone's life just to make sure that he could survive himself.
I mean, Bran, I definitely have more problems with than Arya. Arya's character has generally done relatively smart things, at least in my opinion, and been a pretty cool character. Bran, on the other hand, has often been whiny, he's often been selfish, and he's often been stupid.
And Arya is selfish too when you think about her. Arya is incredibly selfish. She
is, but it's a sort of selfishness that I can at least understand a little bit more than Bran's.
I can't. Really think about this. Bran is a self-fulfilling prophecy, okay? He has to become the three-eyed raven. The three-eyed raven has to make sure that all the timelines and all the magic and all that stupid bullshit are correct, okay? Like, if you put him in World of Warcraft terms, Bran is Nas Dormu. He's that fucking important, okay? Like, his story actually has a point to it. Arya's is just, oh, well, I saw my father get killed. I can't go home. I'm going to do this and this and this. And then she goes over, tries to give herself to the many-faced god. She can't do it. She can't kill somebody for the god, but she can kill on her own. She is a definite killer when it comes to killing whomever she wants to on her own. So then she realizes, oh, I can't do that. Then she kills the worst Terminator robot that's ever been sent back in time to kill anybody. And then she's like, well, fuck you, I'm going on my own, ha ha. And she wanders off and does her own thing. And it was tiresome. It's boring. I mean, like, it's filler. It really is. And this late in the series, we don't need filler. Like, Arya needs to have come to her resolution last night. Everyone else did, except for her. And maybe Bran, because Bran still has a little bit left to go. But it's filler. Like, it's two unnecessary plot lines. They could kill them off and I wouldn't care. The whole season where we had no Bran and Hodor, I was fine with that. I was perfectly fine with that. But getting back to the culmination of 6 seasons of storylines here, Cersei is now the queen. She is she's the queen. She's been crowned and she's sitting on the Iron Throne, and there is no more small council. They're all dead. She killed them all.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for her to die now, basically.
That's really what she has left. I mean, like I said last night,
Although
set up.
I really think Jamie's gonna be the one to kill her. Honestly,
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me, and I did think about that. But what I was gonna say is, last night has set up the end of the series. I mean, we thought like last week's did with John, defeating uh the arm and everything, but no, really, last night absolutely set up the entire end. Like you can see the end of everyone's story arc at this point in time. Everyone has got an end, and they're getting close to it. Like I said, last night was essentially taking all those individual threads and just pulling them together, and it's the best episode of the entire series, honestly, to me.
it was really, really well done. It was excellently done. I mean, they just they did a great job with everything, from the beginning with blowing up the septum and the music, and the scene with the armada traveling, the moment where they're proclaiming Jon Snow the King of the North. It was just the moment with Dany giving the pin to Tyrion. It it was just an awesome episode. It was really good.
It was amazing, but we're a little past the 20 minutes that we promised for the spoilers, so I think spoilers are over. Spoilers are over now. We're not going to talk about it. I promise. We'll be good. You don't have to hate us, and you can listen to us now.
Everyone died.
God damn it, Nick.
You're welcome.
Why? Like, why do you have to ruin it, Nick? Why can't you just? Are you secretly a Decepticon? Is that what it is?
No. I just enjoy torturing you, specifically.
I think you're secretly a Decepticon.
I am an Autobot. Though I'm not a robot, but I am an Autobot.
Dun, 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 dun.
Exactly.
Anyway, that's really all I had to talk about for tonight, I think.
I think so. I mean, we could rant about how stupid Britain is more, but I think we're done with that for now.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I think this is a good point to stop because we've got, Wednesday and Friday shows coming up. And by the way, I still want to do an episode over the Easter eggs in the Warcraft movie because I sat down and I was making a list, like just the things I could remember, and I started looking through articles and stuff online. There's a lot of stuff that was thrown in that movie that I didn't catch the first time. So I'm gonna have to go watch it again, I think. And
I really want to see the extended version with all the filler and all the things they took out, because I really think that I don't know if they should have split into two movies or just made one really long movie. I don't know. I just think it'll be much more fun when we get to see everything.
there was actually a moment that I did not realize was even in the show until I watched like someone had pirated a clip of it. In the scene in Elwyn when Lothar and his soldiers are moving through. This is the only one I want to say right now, okay, Dalton? Because it's on my mind, okay? They're marching through Elwyn. There's a summoning stone behind them, which is amazing. But just when the camera pans just past the tree, you hear this noise. It's a fucking knoll. There's a knoll in the movie.
That's pretty cool.
It is. Cool. Like it's real quick, but it's there, and it made me happy to see that, But anyway, what do you think? Maybe we'll aim for that on Wednesday?
Sounds good.
Yeah, that'll work. Okay. So, usual ending here. Please remember to like this video, comment on it, share it, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, comment on it there, share it on there, watch it on there if you want to. It's fine. Tell all your friends that we need them to watch our show too, because we love your friends. We love your friends. We know that you have some friends, unless you don't. In which case, we'll be your friend. Anyway, we'll talk to all of you Wednesday.
Yep. Goodbye, everyone. Have a great Tuesday.
Bye, everybody.